and I'll continue to let people in, but I wanted to welcome everybody. This is our third workshop in this current outreach effort for putting together our Transformative Climate Communities plan. Next slide. That lets me. There we go. Just again, similar background for any of those who are not as familiar with TCC as others, but the Bakersfield Transformative Climate Communities program empowers communities most impacted by pollution, and it allows them to choose their own goals, strategies, and projects to reduce greenhouse gas and local air pollution. The TCC program is a growing partnership with the city, the Leadership Council, Bakersfield Senior Center, Community Advisory Council, Circle of Life Development Foundation, and all of us are none. I mean, we're the current team, but we're growing. We're recruiting new people to be part of this collaborative constantly. So definitely those of you who want to be part of this. Before I continue, is there any Spanish speakers? I don't see any way we can see Espanol. Anybody? Let's see. Any hands? Okay, I will continue. The TCC program focuses efforts on disadvantaged communities, and these communities are considered vulnerable to environmental health concerns and economic challenges. All right. What the TCC does is it's a funding program that funds the development and infrastructure, well, competitive funding program. It is a grant to apply for. And it funds the development and infrastructure projects to support environmental health and economic benefits. All projects proposed by the community will be disclosed in the TCC plan. However, projects can only be considered for funding if the project meets TCC readiness requirements. And I'll be reviewing those again. And they are basically, the readiness are basically considered ready if they show one, a reduction in greenhouse gases, or another benefit to the community, the key ones being your health, environmental, or economic benefit, and have demonstrated sources of funding or other specific requirements based on the type of project it is. But right now, we're just going to cover a basic readiness. So right now where we are, we're like at the look at the projects. We did a call for projects last month. We got over 121 projects. So yesterday, those at the in-person workshop got their first look at all the projects submitted. And then they all had their evaluation scores on them. Just a little reminder of what the call for projects process looked like. There was 8 steps or basic information points that we asked for. There was the project title, a description, a location, an explanation of community benefits. Is there a willing partner for implementation? Are there other funding sources? Is there a known budget? Are there key TCC partners that will be the implementing entity? So these are just the information, including past engagement that was used to evaluate each project. The key things that we looked when we evaluated them was a demonstrated community need or support, has the ability to reduce greenhouse gas, addresses climate adaptation, ability of the site to be actually constructed or implemented, addresses a housing need, improves mobility, provides job or job training, is consistent with a local plan or regional plan, and has identified and interested partners for implementation. This is the kind of the prioritization tool that we went over at the workshop in August. So everybody can see what, before they submitted their projects, this allowed them to see what makes a competitive TCC project, what are the key things that we're looking for when we do, and then they were scored based on what information they provided. That, oops, one more person in here. They were scored based on the information they were provided when they submitted their project. Sorry, let a few more people in. So basically, this is the I'm going to go over the process when we evaluate the projects. You can see when you go to the website, the Bakersfield tccplan.org. When you go to the link to prioritize a plan, there is another link that allows you to see how all the projects, all 121, were scored. But what we asked is we picked the top 32 projects, all the projects that got a score of 25 or higher. When we asked the community to help us prioritize those projects. So that's kind of what we did, and everybody was given 3 stickers. So like on the online version, everybody will get 3 choices to pick which of those 32, I guess we call them most ready projects, or ones projects that really are competitive and can meet those key funding requirements for TCC. We asked them to help us prioritize them. So everybody put their stickers on what they thought was a priority for them. And that's what we're going to be, and we'll be continuing to do that throughout at least through next Thursday. Not only will the online link will be active for that long, we're also going to announce a few at the Senior Center also volunteered to set up our poster boards and do some more in-person project prioritization as well. So our CBOs will definitely be getting the word out, and I'll be sending out a reminder that before I leave today via email to my massively growing contact list of everybody of where they can either go to the Senior Center on Monday or go to the website and do it that way. So we'll do a quick review of the top 32 projects. Again, a lot of these are kind of broad, and they're meant to be that way because really, once we know what the community wants us to prioritize, we can then kind of really focus in and really clearly identify what that project is. In fact, there's other projects that maybe didn't score that maybe we can combine or, kind of do. Some of the projects were very similar and have kind of key goals. So maybe there's some that we can kind of create a more impactful, larger project. So we'll continue to, this is just a starting point, a brief direction of where we can go. So there's definitely more conversations. Sorry, one more person's letter. There's definitely more conversations that we're going to have. I'll go over that a little bit in the next steps. So again, this is just an introduction of what the community said they wanted and doing an initial evaluation and kind of community prioritization to really get the conversation started. And I'm like, is this really, it will just give us kind of an initial roadmap of where we can start from, and then we can kind of go dive deeper from this point on. So you can see here, probably the walkable, bikeable ones were definitely the most highest scoring competitive because usually those are the ones that get those high greenhouse gas reductions. So there's complete streets on Union, California, improvements on Chester, amid the Mill Creek expansion south, bus rapid transit on Chester and California. We also had improvements at MLK Park, of electric bus circulator, on-demand transit, micro transits, and infill housing, improvements to Garces Memorial Circle to make it more multimodal, doing safe routes to school throughout the area, doing street improvements on 23rd and 24th Streets at key intersections, doing low-income residential solar, doing MLK MLK Boulevard complete streets, doing Brundage Lane complete streets. And just what I mean by complete streets, that means it's actually friendly to all modes of transportation: cars, bus, bike, and pedestrians. That's what we need, just to clarify that. I know some of these, I forget all these terms now aren't as familiar to everybody, but that's what we need, is accessible and safe for all for modes of transportation. Roadway improvements to Monterey Street for bike and ped safety. More bike boulevards. Those are more like, separated, dedicated bike lanes. 19th Street walkability improvements. A Q Street bike extension, extending the current bike lane. Doing more kind of bike ped improvements along Q Street for safety. F Street greening and complete streets. Truxton Avenue pedestrian scale improvements. Golden State pedestrian improvements, 34th Street complete streets. Again, more 23rd Street pedestrian improvements. Some of these probably can be combined. There were some, we tried to combine some that were very similar, but probably we can even do more of that. Oops, another person. At all. Okay. Going. All right. A Wall Street pedestrian paseo, a 4th Street active transportation corridor, enhancements and service enhancements to the current downtown transit center, Bakersfield Senior Center Affordable Housing Project, Creekview Villas Housing Project. And the last two were a community garden collaborative to do various community gardens throughout the focus area, and 21st Street bike improvements. So those are it. You can definitely get more information on the link. I think the descriptions are fairly the same, but these are meant to be broad, meant to just really figure out, okay, what areas we should focus on, what's the most important to you. Then the next phase will be, and then so we'll do that. We'll put in the plan. We'll have a draft plan that kind of has this roadmap of our starting points. And so in November, you'll be able to see all of these projects, how they're scored, the prioritization results from this project. So we'll see, okay, which ones got, of the 3 choices, the projects that got the 3 choices, which ones will be at the top. So we'll probably, show the top 10, top 15, but you'll be able to see how all of the projects will fit in. So and then it'll give us a starting point of where, a roadmap that will be part of our TCC plan vision. So we'll have that, we'll look at that in November, and then we'll finalize it to submit to the state in December. And then from there, once we have our plan, we'll really start, next year, we'll start formalizing our collaboration and partnership for implementation, because that's really what needs to happen once we have our vision, and then once that collaboration is established, then we really start digging in and looking at projects at a more specific scale. Like, okay, you want bike improvements, how many miles of bike lanes are we doing? How many hundreds of feet of sidewalk are we going to do? That's what we really, how many crosswalks are we going to change or enhance? So that's where we really dig into the details of what these projects will be and what will specifically be funded. One of the things we are going to do in the draft plan is we're kind of going to get a jump start on that detail. I think the top 4 ranking projects we're going to do initial work plans for, and those are just to give us a little of head start on what some of those details could be for those projects. So it's just kind of give us a conversation starter and helping us and figure out, okay, these top 4 were the main ones the community want to see. So let's get started on those. So that's kind of where we are. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I will look for a hand raised and open my participant. Or anybody? Was I absolutely clear? No confusion? No. Quiet group. It's Friday.
No, that was pretty good. We explaining everything.
All right. Thank you, Cindy.
This is Troy Hightower.
Uh-huh.
I have some comments and requests.
Sure.
Can you provide a tally of the little orange dots by project from the workshop yesterday?
Oh, you mean like the dots? Oh, from yesterday?
Yeah, like how many dots?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do an initial tally. That's no problem. Yeah, I haven't got a chance. They're still in my car, but I did take pictures. But I did take pictures of all of them, so I can look at my pictures and do a count. Yeah, I haven't got a chance to do that yet, but yeah, no problem.
Okay, then on the electric circulator bus, that's one of the ones we submitted. It has some destinations on there, but none of those are in the southeast. What we had proposed was it to go down to 4th Street.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So if you look at the little description you have, it's like it's going to go to the Amtrak and downtown, and I think high-speed rail, but it doesn't mention anything about going down to 4th Street.
Okay. Well, I think I kept it broad and said disadvantaged communities, but that's what I meant, like through the whole project area. But I can clarify if you think it needs more of a clarification. We can do that. No problem.
Yeah, the route.
Yeah.
Another request is on the projects, the ones that did provide an estimated budget. Could you provide that list as well?
Okay, not very many did that.
Okay, I was just wondering. And then can you are we during this workshop, are we only to talk about the scoring, or can we make other comments?
I mean, you can make
about
other
the program.
Yeah, you can. Anything you want to say?
I just wanted to bring up that on the Fresno TCC process, the way they selected the projects that were submitted to SGC was only by the public workshops, like the DOTS. Well, they actually had people vote at the meetings. And they had a couple rounds of those type meetings. That's how they determine which projects the city of Fresno submitted to SGC. They didn't do a scoring. SGC did a scoring later.
And to clarify, Troy, we're not picking the projects for the application. We're just doing a community prioritization. I mean, whether the projects will be picked, well, that will be later. That will, once we establish our collaborative and our structure, then that structure will determine how the projects will be picked for the application. So we're just, yeah.
Excuse me. So if I understand, all of the projects will still be considered until you get to that point?
Yeah. All the projects are still on the table. We just did the scoring as a guide to show people what would be competitive, what was considered ready.
Okay, and then
they're not what's going to be on the application.
My final comment is I would suggest you look at some pairing of projects or combining different projects together, because I know SGC really likes to see that on the projects.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we talked about that a lot with various people because there were a lot of similar projects. So I think comparing them and making a more impactful project makes perfect sense. So that's why one of the reasons we want to make sure we have all of them on the table. That way, I mean, if we can, I mean, there was even some partnerships made yesterday. People was like, oh, well, you have this partner, oh, you have this idea. Oh, maybe we can do a joint project or a joint effort. So I think, yeah, I think really we're just trying to bring people together, bring ideas together, get some initial prioritization, understand what the community wants to see. And it's really just conversation starters is what we're trying to build in our
Okay,
vision.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I could go on and on, but I'll leave time for the others.
Okay, I think Joanna was next.
Hi, Cecilia. Mine is just a comment. You know the slide where you had the number 1 and then the arrow number 2 and it told you the steps? Do you think you could go to that slide?
Sure. Let me backstep here. Yeah, those were just when you filled out your call for projects.
The one before.
Oh, the timeline?
Yes.
This one. Okay.
I just want to mention that November 11th, the number 4, workshop number 4, look at the plan. November 11th is Veterans Day, so I'm pretty sure you guys want to change that. That's
good idea. Thank you. Sometimes you don't look ahead, but yeah, we will definitely. Yeah, we don't want to do that on a holiday. So yeah, we'll probably have to change that. I'll talk to our consultant and think about that.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And then Tiana?
Yeah, you said it right. Hi, Cecilia. Hi. I had a question about, so you said that was the top 30 projects?
32.
Yeah. 32. Are those the ones that we are going to be voting on, or?
Well, those are the ones you're going to kind of do some prioritization, but yeah.
Okay, so we submitted a project idea and it wasn't up there, so was it not chosen? Or was it still got time?
I mean, well, right now we're just asking for prioritization of the top 32, but your project it's in that full list. You go to the website and you go to the prioritization, you can click on all the projects and how they were evaluated. And those will all be on our project roadmap. And they're, like I said, even though it doesn't score as the most ready TCC project, it doesn't mean you can't get there. It's just kind of, in a way, it's kind of giving you a first look of how your project could be funded. So it's kind of like an evaluation tool for yourself. It's like, okay, well, maybe what do we need to change about our project? What do we need to do to make sure it meets those key TCC requirements? And also it allows the community because, all these projects will be weighed by whatever the community ultimately decides. So, I mean, we won't be able to fund 100 projects. We can maybe fund 10, 15 at the most. So, but we wanted to be fair and open and show everybody, okay, here's all the projects. Here's the projects that are the most ready or the most competitive, and let people start prioritizing those. If we would have gave everybody the full 100, I don't think it would have been fair because there'd be so many ways to, it'd be very saturated. So we really wanted to help guide people and focus and say, hey, these are the most competitive. These will think will be strong competitors for funding, but we can still look at all the projects submitted. They're still not out of the league. We just wanted to show, it's hard. It's very preliminary. We don't know all the details of these projects. We just got these brief descriptions, and based on these brief descriptions, here's how it scores initially. Is that clear?
Yeah, so it was kind of like the most reachable ones, like the doable projects,
the most reachable, the most doable that based on our current knowledge of the project. But we could, once we start doing our deeper dive, maybe we find some hurdles that make it not as reachable. I mean, there's a lot, I mean, maybe there's other projects that can be brought to the table. So, I mean, it's really just a starting point and to start these conversations.
Okay. Because the most of the projects you read off were kind of the same, like in the same area, and kind of the same. Same thing.
Well, they part of the descriptions were kind of the same, but they were all in different. They were up throughout the area, all over.
That's all my questions.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have a question? Like I said, if any, like Troy said, he wanted a fix on his prior description. If there's, you know, I did kind of have to abbreviate some of them to, so if there's that abbreviation you don't think is reflective of your project, let me know too. We can do fixes.
I have a comment, Cecilia. If you don't mind, quickly sharing with us why the 3 dots and how that's translated over to the work plans.
We just thought that, you know, that was really, you know, because mainly it's because of how many projects we think can fund. If we gave people too many dots, it would have given us, you know, 30 projects that are, so we wanted to really people to really think about, okay, what's the most important priority for them? And we thought 3 was a fair amount and would give us a good dispersive. Based on what I see on the picture, there's probably a good 7 to 8 projects that really rose to the top, which is good, and that really gives us a good idea. I'm surprised there were so many. I was thinking it would really be spread out, but there's definitely a strong community vision with a lot of people of what they want. So there's definitely, like I'd say, good 7 to 8 projects that rose to the top that will be probably the most discussed amongst everybody. So we'll know more, you know, that's just the initial. We have a lot of online too, so we'll get some tallies. We're going to cut this off next Thursday. So definitely get your votes in. So I hope that answers that question. In a way, it was almost like thinking about like a participatory budget process where, like, you know, you only have a finite budget. Where would you put all your, you know, all your money's at? What's most important? So it really kind of gave people a almost a budgeting tool, because that's what, you know, we have to do. We have to think about, okay, what's the most important? What should we focus on? And so this kind of allows people to do that with the 3 dots or the 3 options to choose. Any other questions? We're doing a time. We still got 30 minutes. But if you guys are, you know, done, you're welcome to drop off. But I'll probably hang out, see if any new people join us. If anybody new joins us, I'll be here, so I'll just hang out. But thank you for coming. And you're welcome to contact me if you have any questions. But I'll go to the last page. Oops. Now I did it. Go too fast, and then I'll go to the last one. There we go.
Just to make sure if there, were there any folks in the line that needed Spanish translation? ¿Hay alguien que necesite interpretación en español? Okay.
Thank you, Emma.
Celia, can you hear me?
Yeah, Lily, I can hear you.
Was the announcement made for the boards being at Bakersfield Senior Center on Monday?
I did mention it, yeah.
Okay.
So I did, yeah. So I'll just say, yeah, just let's take the boards that we had at our meeting last night will be at the senior center most of the day Monday. I think we said from 9 to 2. And I plan on sending an email blast too that will, you know, send everybody the links.
Right.
And let them know that they have the in-person option at the senior center on Monday.
Okay, I apologize. I just got audio 10, 12 minutes ago, so I apologize.
Okay. We're good. It's quiet crowd. Oh, Troy, do you have a question? I see your hand.
Are we done?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm just taking.
Yeah, I have a question. How long is the online survey going to be active?
Till Thursday, I believe. A week. We're into a week.
Okay, and when will you have those results available for the public?
I think we can do the survey pretty quick. It's just we'll have to. I think pretty quick because it's just really counting the dots. So I probably the following week. I don't see why we wouldn't have it early the next week.
Okay, and then other than the survey, can people or organizations on their own, you know, indicate support for whatever projects they like? Like you would do a support letter or something like that?
I mean, yeah, I welcome that. I mean, I know Emma was going to get some support letters. So I think that just helps show there's strong backing for some of these projects, and it'll just show, yeah, it'll help. Yeah, and we can definitely, maybe we can include those in an appendix in the plan or something. We'll think about that. That might be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ricardo, did you have a question?
Yeah, hey Cecilia, thanks so much for the work you've done on this and for the presentation today. So the 4 projects that I see here related to transit all look really good. I was wondering though if we might want to consider broadening the electric circulator bus to instead of specifying the type of fuel that would be used, I guess, quote, I'm using air quotes for fuel, if we can change it from electric to zero emission vehicles. Only because we are transitioning towards hydrogen fuel, not necessarily electric. And I think electric would be like just a harder, longer project for us to undertake regarding like infrastructure for electric vehicles. So I think it might score better or be, you know, a more attractive project. I think if we just kind of make that zero emission and just to broaden it that way.
No, that makes sense. No problem.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Zero emission. Okay. Any other questions? You have another question, Lily?
Nope, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Just to take the extra time, I would encourage everyone to share the website link with folks and invite them to participate in the survey, review the projects, and also reach out if there's any questions about the projects, or maybe if you'd like to know like who submitted the projects, to identify potential partners. I think all those questions are welcome. And yeah, the survey is also now provided in Spanish. But if anyone would like a mini workshop on TCC in Spanish, please let me know. I'll put my contact info in the chat box and you guys can reach out. Thank you.
I have a question for Cecilia and Emma. This is Carlos. Yeah, I was wondering, so not all projects or proposals are included here in the prioritization survey, right?
Yeah.
I assume, I was wondering, were some projects excluded maybe because they were not in the project area within the boundaries?
There was a couple, yeah, that were outside the boundaries. Some of them still, yeah, there were a couple. Most of them, I think, yeah, I'd say maybe 3 were outside of the boundaries.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. But we still scored them based on meeting kind of TCC requirements and based on what they provided. So, I mean, even if we can't fund them there might be other opportunities because there's lots of funding opportunities, especially from the state on, projects that meet their climate goals. There's CARB funded mobility projects. There's, Bakersfield College has got a huge state grant of cap and trade funds to do coursework on electric vehicle maintenance, and now they also want to expand it to electric charging installation and maintenance. Because once we start doing this infrastructure, they'll need trained individuals to maintain this infrastructure. So, there's a lot of one thing we want to do is try to identify all of the funding sources because they're all great projects, and even if we don't use the opportunity for TCC for some of them, there might be other ones. So the city wanted to really use this process that's why we wanted any and all ideas, because we really wanted to see what the community wants, and then we can help maybe guide other funding sources or help prioritize. Some of the city does set aside some community revitalization funding. So maybe we can use that for some of these projects. So, really, I'm really excited to go through all this and learn and talk to you about all your ideas, because I know TCC, it's hard, it's limiting, and it is. We want to be competitive, and we want to be fair with people on what makes a competitive project. But at the same idea, we want to know what is important to you. So that's why we kind of wanted to do, maybe once we identify the most competitive TCC priority projects, maybe we can do another prioritization exercise later with projects that, don't make the TCC cut. Maybe that way we can help learn how we can prioritize those ones. So, there's lots, we're still kind of figuring out what's best and what makes the most sense. So, and once we build this collaborative structure, we can really figure out kind of like what Troy said, Fresno came up with their decision-making process. We still need to figure out ours. So really, we were really just using this plan just to do initial projects, initial thoughts, initial evaluations, just as talking points. And then once we get more formal, once we have our collaborative and our decision-making process established, that everybody agrees to, then we can, use that, what we set up, not only for TCC, but I think we can use it as an ongoing way to prioritize other funding sources as well. So city really would like to capitalize us on this great collaborative that we're creating, and keep it going. I mean, it would be awesome. Hopefully, I kind of went beyond, but Troy, you have a question?
Yeah, I know that the city is the applicant for TCC, but I'm wondering if the county could collaborate on projects. And the reason I ask that is the proposed Southeast Transit Center, the county has expressed interest in that because where it may end up being located is right there at that big county island on Cottonwood Road. So I was just wondering if, the county could support a project and that would be okay.
I mean, we'd have to start having that conversation with them, and it would, changing. We'd have to think about where these projects go, and it would cause changing the boundary and the focus area, because we can only do 5 square miles. So, I mean, again, I think that's just up to discussion amongst the community, and really, I think a lot will depend what comes out on top. But I mean, Letitia Perez was at our meeting yesterday, so maybe there is county interest. They haven't really expressed. I don't know if anybody's approached them. I have to ask if the city has or not. I'm not sure, but we can see.
I have talked to her office about this, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Because the Southeast Transit Center would also support a new route that goes down MLK to the southeast, and so the actual center may be right on the border between.
Talk to Ricardo about this. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Until I come up with another question.
Okay. No, those are good questions, Troy. Thank you. It's just, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's still a lot to consider and evaluate. And again, I mean, maybe some projects just out of our continuing discussions, maybe other projects will be put on the table. Again, like I said, this is just a starting point, an initial kind of call for ideas. And maybe some groups get together and create a united, kind of project that they can all get behind. So, because really, you kind of got to think about, they're all great projects, but really you got to think about, okay, what do we really want to fund? What should be our main focus? And that'll come as we continue. I'm hoping. I know I didn't get to do a formal presentation yesterday, and I'm hoping by doing this and by recording it, I'll try to get it on our website as soon as possible. It usually takes a couple days. And then I'll send everybody out an email when it does, and you can share. I'm hoping this explanation will help kind of explain better the process, and then show that there is, it is just a starting point. I mean, we've got a long way to go. Got about 14 more minutes. I'll probably hang on around 5 more minutes, and then I'll probably go ahead and end it. Anybody else have any questions that pops in their head? Let me know. right. I'll go ahead and end it, but I just wanted to thank everybody for being here and for your questions. I appreciate it. You know, if anything pops in your head later, please let me know. And I have noted to clarify both the 4th Street project and the bus circulator project. So I'll get those edits done. And do you want to say something, Emma?
Cecilia, really quick, may I go to your office to pick up the leftover materials?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. I meant to ask. I'm sorry. Yes. You come by. I have, I need to get him out of my car, but yes.
Okay. I'll be there like around 1:15-ish.
Okay. I'll run down and get him as soon as I'm in this.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And you're at the same place where we met?
Actually, we moved offices. We're in the City Hall North 3rd floor.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend. All right. Thank you. Bye.